Good morning, everyone. Good to see everybody. Good to see so many familiar faces, people that I haven't seen in a while out here amongst the crowd. I'm Dr. Rick McDaniel, Superintendent at McKinney ISD, and I am so pleased that you're here with us today. We've got a full slate of events and people to talk about, and great memories and great roads to go down in our mind. And before we do so, I just want to say a special thank you to our our assistant superintendent. I'll be the superintendent. Our superintendent, Sean Pratt, and his other crew that oversees athletics over here, Jennifer Frazier, who's our new athletic director, and all of the crew that put this together. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Now, Coach Frazier will be up here to get us rolling here in just a moment, but if you don't mind, I would like to bless our food, so if you'll join me here, I'll give a quick blessing. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much, Lord, for all that we've been blessed with, specifically this day. We humbly come to you today giving thanks for all that we've been blessed with, including the rich traditions that you provided us through all of the people that are in this room. And Lord, we just ask that you allow us to continue with these traditions and go down the path that would make you proud, and a path that would make you happy, and for all that we've accomplished in the city of McKinney and all that's still to come, Lord. And I just ask that you bless this food to the nourishment of our body and give us your praise and your glory. We give it all back to you. In your name we pray. Amen.
I had the opportunity to visit with our school board earlier this week, and I just, we are so blessed in McKinney. We truly are, with the support that we have from Dr. McDaniel and our cabinet and our school board members, that we are still able to let our athletes play. And as you know, former athletes sitting in the room, sometimes, that's kind of the thing that gets us out of bed in the morning and makes us want to go throughout the day. So I just want to pause, and you'll see on the screen, last year, even despite moving from in-person learning to virtual learning, we were still able to record our highest numbers ever of academic all-district awards and 219 academic all-state awards. So those are lots of different athletes that received those awards. Also, we were able to send our McKinney High School girls basketball team, made it all the way down to the state tournament. So yes, that was a big celebration. I think it's even more fun because today Coach Duncan was the one that helped start that girls basketball team today. So it's just an example, yes, an example of just a foundation that was built years ago. So, and then finally too, we do this every year, but we had 71 athletes last year who were able to sign postgraduate scholarships to go play at the next level, the NCAA level. So as you can see, they're represented from all three high schools. And we were able to send 71 kids. We're still able, even in the pandemic and things shutting down, we're still able to go and further their athletic careers and get their school paid for as well too. So we celebrate that also. So now to the exciting part, we get to get on to our Hall of Honor inductees. And I just want to do a quick, quick glance into each of them, and then we'll stop and pause and show a quick video and get a little bit more in depth about what each of them have accomplished. But first, we'd like to start with Rodney Haynes. He was a two-sport star at McKinney High who excelled in both baseball and football. He was a standout center on the football team, and then just as a freshman, he led his baseball team to the state tournament. We have Ronald Jones II, clearly the most decorated football player in McKinney North history. He is currently in his third year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You might have seen him play last week as they defeated the New Orleans Saints. And so he is not able to be with us today. His family is here, but he obviously is preparing for something a little bit more important called the NFC Divisional Championship. But we are going to celebrate him as well today too. Zach Lee, an incredible two-sport athlete who received all state honors in both football and baseball. He was initially drafted by the Dodgers, but he has since had several stints with several different Major League Baseball teams, so we're excited he's here with us. Joe Simpson, he's a true trailblazer for McKinney ISD as he invested over 47 years of education here. He led his football team to the state semifinals in 1958, and just the other day I was visiting with Coach Gary Harden, who's a former inductee and a member of our committee, our Hall of Honor committee, and he was telling me, Joe Simpson truly helped McKinney ISD understand what excellence was in athletics. So I think that was the ultimate compliment. Glenna Duncan, she was an integral part in establishing the girls basketball team, as I mentioned earlier. In 1998, she coached her team to a record of 31-4, and she led them to a state tournament appearance. And then Al Alford. I don't think you can think about McKinney and baseball without thinking about Al Alford. He founded the McKinney Mavericks youth baseball program, and he was pivotal to bringing the Mickey Mantle World Series to McKinney. So we're excited to honor him. And then finally, our 2011 McKinney girls soccer team. They went 28-1-1 on their way to secure a state championship. And on that team alone, they had 7 Division I athletes get to go play at the next level. So we have quite a few of those ladies in attendance with us today. So we're excited to get to honor them too. So we're going to celebrate the rich, long history we have of McKinney ISD athletics. We're going to begin. So if you'll turn your attention to the screens, we'll get started.
Senior class inductee, Rodney Haynes. Our senior class inductee was a 2-sport star for the McKinney Lions in the early 1980s. Long before his playing days as a McKinney Lion, he was making a name for himself in the local newspaper. Playing multiple positions on the diamond, regular reports about youth baseball in McKinney featured him and his team. A few years later, as a freshman, he was part of the McKinney Lions state qualifying baseball team, and he went on to earn first-team All-District honors twice as a first baseman and once as a pitcher. In football, he was a pivotal part of Coach Ron Poe's playoff teams, often playing both ways in his career. He was named All-State as a center in 1983 and earned a scholarship to play at the University of Texas at Arlington. He also was invited to play in the Texas State All-Star Game and the Texas Oil Bowl in 1984. A lifelong McKinney resident, he's been the owner of a successful landscape business for 28 years and spends much of his time on mission trips across the world and supporting community events. For his accomplishments on the field, his unselfish spirit, and his commitment to the community, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Rodney Haynes as a member of the class of 2021.
This is the third time I've worn a suit in 35 years. First time was when I got married to my wonderful wife, and then my daughter in 2008, walking around on the field at McKinney, homecoming queen nomination, and then 2012, one other event, and then today. Maybe that's 4 times. I did learn a lot at McKinney High School, I tell you. But anyway, I don't even know where to start. It's just such an honor. I'll definitely put on a suit to stand before you today and just tell you how honored I am to just live in McKinney and be a part of such an incredible athletic program. Walk in and see my coaches back there today, Coach Hodges, Harden, Poe, and Hales is back there, and brings back a ton of memories. And when Coach Hodges came to my office, I guess a year ago, and had me fill out a form, and you just sit down, you start reflecting on all those times back then that are so special that you just can't give up. It's one thing to be on the field and play ball, but it's that team, those coaches that you build up that just never leave you, and that's just been such a big blessing in my life. And I thank those guys back there and many more that have been a part of it. And then to look at that book right there and see the pictures of others that have been in there and understand how awesome they are. Not just as athletes, but as people. Mike Sessom's right over there. I was on that freshman, being on that state qualifying team, but that guy right there mentored me a bunch, not just as a player, but as a human being. He's a great person, Jeff Lackey, and many others that I've been able to grow up with and see that have been honored as well. It's a really, really cool thing. It's a blessing to do so. So I just want to let you know I'm honored to be here. It's a blessing for me. Humbly receive it. Respect McKinney Athletics, respect my coaches and all that they've done. But I've got to tell one story that Coach Poe did. How many minutes do I have left? All right. We're on Saturday morning after the game, Saturday morning films. We're going over the films, and Coach Poe decides he's going to stop the film and play it back, or rewind it, play it back, rewind it, play it back, rewind it, play it back, rewind it, play it back. And it was me laying on the ground on my back with a guy with about 80 pounds more than me laying on me, head to toe, face. You couldn't really see me under him because he had about 80 pounds on me. And he was putting his arms up in the air and his feet up in the air and flying while laying on me. Okay? So Coach would look at that and rewind it and play it again, and rewind it and play it again. And it's like, Rodney, it looks like y'all are getting along really well there. Not sure what you're doing, but those are moments you kind of want to forget. But there's not any others. There's not any others at all. At every moment, from walking up College Street on that practice field down at Caldwell School as a 7th grader, and all the way through to my last game, and that's the one that you know, Corsicana in '84. That's where it ended, in a playoff game. And boy, that'll really shake you up a little bit, because you know that team that you have that you, I didn't know I was going to do that you grew up with. You know, it's so special. And I run into Lance here today that I never get to see very often, and others throughout the time. I see Coach Hodges out running around. I run into Coach Hales. I get to see the other two every once in a while somewhere, and it just brings it back. And I'm so thankful to have that. It's a blessing to do so. But anyway, I don't know. Do I have a couple more? I can come up with something, you know. Talk all day, but just very thrilled, very honored to be here. Thank you for the nomination. Coach Hodges, I believe, put that there for me, or at least came out to the office and told me about it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm honored to be a part of such an incredible group of people of greatness here at McKinney Athletics. Thank you.
The modern era inductees. Ronald Jones II. The credentials of this inductee are unquestionable. In defining his high school football career, one thing was obvious. Every time he touched the football, he was a threat to score. As one of the most electrifying running backs in McKinney ISD history, he finished his high school career with a school record 4,967 yards and 76 touchdowns for the McKinney North Bulldogs. After earning All-Texas and All-America honors, he soon became the feature back for the USC Trojans. His collegiate career was highlighted by some of the same kind of moments, as he broke the freshman rushing record at USC and totaled 3,619 yards and 39 touchdowns in 3 seasons. In 2018, he was selected by Tampa Bay in the second round of the NFL Draft and started in 9 games during the 2019 season. Before the 2020 season, he was declared the starting running back for the team by Coach Bruce Arians, and he produced consecutive 100-yard games in the first few weeks of the season. For his reliability on the field and his determination to reach new levels, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Ronald Jones II as a member of the class of 2021.
As mentioned earlier, Ronald can't be with us, but he did send an acceptance video for us all to watch, so we are going to turn our eyes again to the screen and let him hear his words.
What's up? I'm Ronald Jones, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and McKinney North High School graduate, class 2015, of course. I'm sorry that I can't be there with you tonight to celebrate. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves and staying safe and healthy. I'm honored and humbled to be recognized as one of the newest members of McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor. Some of my favorite memories were back when I was a Bulldog in our historic playoff runs in 2014 and 2015. The foundation that I built in the McKinney North community prepared me to be a USC Trojan and now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Preparing for the NFC Championship, I hope to make you all proud and put on for the city. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, from all the coaches, the loves and support that my city has endured me. It means so much to me and my family. Go Bulldogs.
Zach Lee. Our next inductee was a memorable All-State performer in 2 sports for the McKinney Lions. As quarterback of the Lions football team, he established career records with more than 7,400 yards passing and career passing touchdowns with 74. He was part of several epic showdowns, including a memorable 6-touchdown, 420-yard game as a junior in a 65-63 shootout versus Denison. And as a senior, he threw 5 touchdowns in 2 different games for the high-powered Lions offense. In all, he threw 33 touchdown passes and nearly 3,000 yards in 2008, 2,565 yards, and 31 passing touchdowns as a senior, earning him All-State honors. In baseball, he was a two-time District Pitcher of the Year, winning 11 games and posting a 2.15 ERA with 90 strikeouts as a senior. In addition, he was the winning pitcher in the 16 and under World Championship in Venezuela. Foregoing an offer to play football at LSU, he was a first-round draft pick of the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2010, and today is a member of the Oakland Athletics organization. For his leadership and dependability on the field and on the mound, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Zach Lee as a member of the class of 2021.
I want to start by saying thank you. It is an honor and privilege to be not only nominated but inducted here into this exclusive group of people. Growing up at McKinney and seeing a lot of the athletes that we've produced, it's really quite special to be a part of this group of community. With that being said, I'd like to thank quite a few people here in my McKinney community. I'd like to thank the committee for all they do and for inducting me. I'd like to thank Coach Shavers for nominating me, as well as letting me come back to the program and still be part of the Lion family, as well as Coach Groh and Coach Price in that same capacity. I'd like to thank Coach Pratt, Coach Homer, Coach Frazier, Coach Cahey for putting this on as well. Y'all do a tremendous job. I'd also like to thank the women in the back who really put on the show. Miss Shelley, Miss Shannon, Miss Connie, Miss Paula, my baseball McKinney family there. Thank you all for everything you do and making all the hard work happen. I'd also like to thank my family that's in attendance today, my aunt and uncle being here, my grandmother, and she's had a tough year, but I'm glad that she was able to make it out and support me in everything she does. I'd like to thank my brother, Bake, for if it wasn't for him, there's no chance I'd be the competitor I am today, and he provided a great role model for me growing up. I'd like to thank my father, Steve, for teaching me how to throw football, making sure that I work hard continually, never giving up, and playing the sports the right way. I'd also like to thank my mother, Julie, for all the sacrifices she made for both me and my brother, driving us to practices, continually be there supporting us through all of it. I'd like to thank everyone here for attending as well. It's a great honor to be up here and really appreciate the support and the community that we have and being able to show it the correct way. For me, it's not necessarily solely me that got here, for sure. There's a big community, and y'all are a big part of the reason I'm here, and I'd like to be able to share some of that credit for y'all for getting me to where I am here today. So thank you, everyone, and go Lions.
Legends Class inductee, Joe Simpson. Few educators have touched as many lives, whether it be former players, coaches, parents, or others, than the inaugural inductee in this new category, the Legends Class. He was a multi-sport star at Hardin-Simmons before becoming a high school teacher, coach, and administrator in the North Texas region for 47 years. He became head football coach of the McKinney Lions in 1954, leading the team to the state semifinals in 1958. The Lions rebounded from a combined 18-1 in his first two seasons to 3 consecutive winning seasons before a loss to Breckenridge in 1958 ended the best Lions season up to that point. His other coaching stops included Dallas Hillcrest High School, where his team went 11-1 in 1964, and Richardson High School, where he led the Eagles to their best ever season in 1967. He eventually became athletic director and assistant superintendent for Richardson ISD. In his 14 years as a coach, he won 87 games, and his team made the playoffs 4 times. He retired in 2000, but remains active in community, church, and charitable activities. For his impact on countless student athletes, fellow coaches, administrators, and communities, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Joe Simpson as a member of the class of 2021.
I came to McKinney as a young coach. I was a basketball coach in 8th grade football, 23 years old, single. And my first year here, our 8th grade football team was undefeated. The basketball team had some problems. We lost quite a few of our players, and the head coach left and went to a elementary principal's job. The assistant took the head coaching job, and then he left at the end of the year and went to another school district. And they moved me up as a football coach. I had a bunch of young players, inexperienced, and God kept me very humble. The first game we played was against Garland, and we lost by about 60 points. I then had a 9-1 record. 9 losses, 1 tie. You can imagine our school at that time. We had some of the school was felt it was unfit to attend, and it was condemned. And we had half our team, half our school went to the morning class and half went to the afternoon class. The school district voted a bond issue to build a new school. 1,500 people met at Finch Park to defeat this bond election. And of course it failed. Well, that year we continued to have a good team. We won a few of our early games. The school kind of got excited, the town got excited. Our first district game was against Parish. At that time, they were ranked very high in the state and had the top running back in the state. We had 1,000 people charter a train from Farmersville to Parish to go to that game. We went up hoping we could at least score on them. Wound up with a 7-6 score, and we held them on the 2-yard line. Kept the running back from scoring. This was 4 teams that we won that year by 1 point. We came down to the end of the year, we were tied for district championship, and we were going to be a representative regardless of how the team came out. But if we lost the game or tied it, then Gainesville would get to move on to the playoffs. At that time, only 1 team left to go to the playoffs. We came down, we were behind 7-0, and Robert Joplin, our quarterback, threw a pass on the last play of the game, and we had a 7-6 tie. We had won 4 games that year by 1 point. Guess what? We missed the extra point. Gainesville got to go on to represent the district, although we tied for district. Next year we had a winning team, came down to the last game of the year with Gainesville. Sure enough, we lost 7-6. That elusive 1 point. The next year was my 8th grade seniors as seniors, and we had a few talented juniors to come along. We came down last game of the year tied with Gainesville. Sure enough, we beat them 43-13 and went on to the state playoffs. We won 2 of our playoff games and lost to Breckenridge in the state semifinals. For Breckenridge went on, won the state. We had since passed a bond issue, and it passed overwhelmingly to build a new high school. I think it's now called Fabian Junior High. We moved into it at midterm. I took a job at Hillcrest as a football coach, and since then have spent 43 years in education. Many of them at Hillcrest, at Richardson High School, where I was coach, athletic director, and assistant superintendent, and then moved on to Farmersville, where I became superintendent of schools, and I've since retired there. I had always chased that extra point. It seemed to evade me. But I remember that, to score extra points, you had to first score a touchdown. And I scored many touchdowns in my life. God was good to me. I had 3 wonderful children, 2 of them born here in McKinney. A couple of them are with us tonight. The other one is in West Virginia and couldn't come. It's been a real pleasure to be here. God has been good to me. I was once a McKinney Lion. I will always be a McKinney Lion. May God bless this wonderful school district, and thank you for the honor that you've given me.
Coach inductee, Glenna Duncan. The titles of pioneer and trailblazer are frequently overused these days, but it is certainly not the case for this year's coach inductee. The folks in the small northeast Texas town of Bogota probably saw a hint of her future when she led the Rivercrest team to an undefeated state championship in 1968. After 2 seasons as an All-State player in high school and All-American sophomore season in junior college, she was part of the first ever women's basketball team at East Texas State University in 1971. 5 years into her coaching career, she came to McKinney High School, and along with Susie Hales, essentially started the girls' athletic program. All of that seemed to culminate in 1998, when she coached the Lionettes basketball team to a 31-4 record and a trip to the state semifinals. Among her accolades during her coaching career were numerous high school and middle school Coach of the Year honors and serving on the TABC All-State Selection Committee. Fittingly, she coached 6 players who've already been inducted into the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor. Since her retirement, she spends many of her days on the family farm, enjoying time with her 5 grandchildren, other family members, and friends. For her willingness to take on what had not been done before, and for her commitment to her school and community, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Glenna Duncan as a member of the class of 2021.
I stand before you not only as Coach Duncan, but I stand before you as a McKinney Lionette. I always say when I come to this event, I'm among family and friends, and I surely am. I appreciate all of you being here. I also am among colleagues of whom I have taught with for the majority of my teaching career. And I appreciate and know the hard work that they have given daily to the McKinney students. I also want to recognize the special people who have been inducted today and those that have been inducted previously. I appreciate them, and they are a qualified group. I appreciate Sean Pratt and his leadership in recognizing the rich history of McKinney sports. Also Jennifer Frazier and Corey Homer for their work in this event. And like has been said, all the other little hands that's behind the picture that has made this happen, I appreciate them also. The committee members, I appreciate you for recognizing my passion for girls' athletics. And I thank you, Coach Poe, for hiring me in 1977. You know the population of McKinney in 1977? 15,000. And I thought that was a big town that we came to. So it has changed, but it's changed all for good. As I reflect on my 27 years of service in McKinney, to the students of McKinney as a teacher, a head coach, an assistant coach, a middle school coach, I feel very fortunate to have joined a team of educators that worked hard to provide excellence in all areas of the school scene, from administration to classroom instruction and to extracurricular activities. Speaking of administration, I know this pandemic is a hard thing for all of us, but it saddens me to know that one of my principals, Mike Hannings, was succumbed to this. And also Glenda Dixon, who was one of our athletic supporters totally in providing us T-shirts and athletic wear, has also succumbed to this, the virus, and it makes me very sad. For my part, in this portrait, I immediately think of all the young ladies that has passed through the Lionette Athletic Program. Their willingness to be coached, to apply themselves daily, and to work as a team. We were fortunate to not only have outstanding kids, but an abundance of talent during those early years, as noted by those girls who have been inducted into this Hall of Honor. Today, I would like to recognize a scattering of their teammates and name some names that also were important to the building of the Lionette Athletic Program. Some of you will recognize all of these names. Some of you may not know any of them, but they span probably about 25 years. Some of those girls' very beginnings in the early 70s was Jennifer Hollins, sister to Annette Hollins, who is in this Hall of Honor. Becky Douglas, Didona Womack, Valerie Bird, Marcia Boland, Cecilia Mack, Monica Lee, Adrian Robinson, Tina Mosby, Shannon Culverhouse, Charlotte Vitz, Amy Justice, Kristen Tremonti, and Ann Dotson, just to name a few. These were kids, I loved all these kids. I loved all the athletes that I coached. They were special to me. We had some really great teams as I was here in McKinney, but I was also honored to coach with some of the best coaches around who dedicated themselves to coaching basketball, volleyball, or track, whatever it was that they were in, and they helped our athletes to progress. One of them was Susie Hales. She came here in 1976 with her husband Randy, and my husband and I came in 1977. The others were Trina Uri, my longtime assistant, sitting at this table right here. Roxanne Ward, who I coached with in the middle school, lovely teacher with students. And Darla Sessoms and Kristen Lazaroff, who are here, they were also Lionettes. Darla was a Lionette in the 80s, Kristen was a Lionette in the 90s. And it makes me so proud to see that they have chosen to coach. They got something from the McKinney Athletic Program. Also, I especially want to thank my husband, who I could not have done this job without. He was my partner and helped me tremendously. I want to recognize my kids, Brad and Amy and Brady, sitting over here at this table. And my other boy is Kevin, and Kevin and his wife have two boys, Roman and Wyatt. They called yesterday to say they were quarantined, so they couldn't come. But I appreciate their support totally. I also want to thank my parents and my siblings, my brother and my two sisters, for their undying support. Well, why coach? Everybody, has that question, why coach? I grew up in a Hoosiers type of atmosphere. Most of you've probably seen that movie. It was in East Texas. Everything around me revolved around family, church, and school. Our high school coach was young and eager, and he was one of the best in the state. His name was Larry Tucker. He consistently took his teams to the state tournament. in state competition. In fact, he's the only coach to have won a state championship in both girls and boys basketball, of whom my husband and I both were participants. He believed in his athletes, and in turn, we never doubted what we could do through hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Because I had experienced much success in my high school years and college years, I just wanted to give back. I wanted other kids to have the same opportunities that I had had. So what did I do? I coached, and I loved it. As special guests today, I have my high school coach's 3 daughters, Jamie, Jana, and Jay. They're sitting right over here at this table. Wave your hand. I love them. Of course, you know Jay as your McKinney North High School principal. And I want them to know that I appreciate their mom and dad and all they ever did for me. And I love them. And I thank them for being here today. Every year I look forward to the video that was shown on your screen of the kids going to the next level in sport. It makes me proud to know that the program has expanded to such a great level. I mean, that many kids, young men and young women receiving athletic scholarships is amazing to me. Our very first here in McKinney was Annette Hollins in 1978. And she was the only one that year that went to play ball. So, sports, that's the beauty of sports. They unite communities as they have here today. They unite teams, they unite athletes, and they unite coaches. I humbly express my appreciation for this recognition. My greatest joy was to see kids succeed. Thank you for this honor.
Contributor and supporter inductee, Al Alford. Our final honoree is a name known well beyond McKinney ISD, and he's impacted the lives of countless community members. Born in Picton, Texas, and a 1948 graduate of McKinney High School that was then housed in the Boyd building, he spent most of his life on and around the baseball diamond. In McKinney, he's best known as the man who founded the McKinney Mavericks youth baseball program in 1971 and was instrumental in bringing the Mickey Mantle World Series to McKinney. He also was a Hall of Fame collegiate baseball umpire for 37 years, working the College World Series, the UIL State Baseball Tournament, the Connie Mack World Series, and countless Southwest Conference games, including the longest game in conference history, a 20-inning affair behind the plate. He also served his community as a member of the McKinney Parks and Recreation Board and was a former McKinney City Councilman. An Army veteran of the Korean War, where he earned the Purple Heart, his name remains etched not only on the home field of the McKinney Lions, but in the many lives he impacted. For his service to his fellow man and to the great game he loved, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts the late Al Alford as a member of the class of 2021.
That's a great man right there, y'all. It's an honor to be here and to honor my father, Al. I have notes here, and I may go off on a rabbit trail, y'all. I'm a 7th grade Texas history teacher, so bear with me, okay? Let me get out the trusty iPad because, the fonts don't get so big anymore. Oops. There we go. Dad loved everything about McKinney, and it's interesting how actually it's a blessing that we're honoring him today, because today in the state of Texas is the first day for high school baseball practice. I mean, how amazing is that? And so we get to do this because Dad loved baseball, but he also loved McKinney. Growing up here, you've heard a lot of coaches and a lot of players speak of the relationship with their coaches. My dad had a special relationship with Ken Geyer, an amazing coach who he spoke of fondly throughout his entire life. Coach Geyer inspired my dad to become great at everything he did. And he helped Dad achieve things that he didn't think possible. one thing Dad wanted to do when he graduated, he wanted to come back to McKinney, and he wanted to give something to the community. He wanted to give something to the players to play on that they could be proud of. As it mentions there, he started the Summer League program back in the 60s and 70s. The original stadium is now the East parking lot over at Ron Poe Stadium. That's where the original baseball stadium was. In the middle 70s, the current field at White Avenue was built. Basically, he built that with his hands and the help of the city of McKinney and McKinney ISD. But he spoke of how they went around town to the medians and cut grass to put in the infield. And he laid that by hand. And as you saw some of the pictures there, if you ever drove around town and you came by the field, you always saw that guy out there with the gray coaching shorts, the long sleeve faded, probably had a few holes in it shirt, the white socks up to the knees, and big wide brimmed hat. He would be out there either mowing the grass or watering the dirt, and he loved to water the dirt. We had to stop him at times. They call him Hurricane Al every now and then. But he loved it, and he wanted to make sure that the boys had a field that they could be proud of, and they were. You could tell by the way they took care of it after the games. You know, he helped instill that pride in them. Obviously, his ultimate goal was to bring the Mickey Mantle World Series here, and he was honored to do that in 1996. That same year, the city of McKinney dedicated the field in his honor, and the entire family was there, and it was an amazing time. We celebrate that and still celebrate that today. Before coming here, I drove my son Mitchell over there. Last time he was here, he was 5 years old, and I was holding him in my arms. We tried to recreate that photo. It didn't work well. He's a little bit bigger now at 15. Anyway, he couldn't have done it without help. He had a lot of help from his wife, Shirley, our mom. She would travel from place to place with him, keeping score. At the old field, she'd sit behind the backstop, keeping score, watching us kids, my sisters and myself, trying to keep us in line, keeping score, as I mentioned, and selling Cokes out of a big wash tub there. When they built the new stadium over on White Avenue, they put a concession stand in there, and we knew it was just for her. And in that stadium, and there she would sell her famous sweet tea. If you've ever been there, and you know what I'm talking about. But she was his confidant, or his partner. And they went together all over the places and through baseball and just lived an amazing life together. If he were here today, he would thank a lot of people. Obviously, the family for the support, his wife of many years for her support, but he'd also thank people like Denny and B.J. Dixon, who helped continue the program for years. Lindsey Gunner, what a great man, who was also a vital, important part, and then also Gabe Nesbitt. Without them, none of this would be possible. We wouldn't be here today without that. I believe that's it. I want to just say thank you again from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of our family's heart. Thank you so much for this honor, and go Lions.
Team inductee, the 2011 McKinney Boyd girls soccer team. As one of the most dominant groups in MISD history, the 2011 McKinney Boyd girls soccer team won the 5A state championship, was unbeaten in 14 district matches, and finished the season with an impressive 28-1-1 record. Led by Gatorade Texas Player of the Year Megan Strait and 6 other future Division I college players, this team allowed more than 1 goal only 1 time in the regular season, registered 10 shutouts, and a total of only 12 goals surrendered for the entire season. Their season culminated with a 1-0 overtime win against Colleyville Heritage in the state title game. The Lady Broncos, who were ranked 2nd in the nation by ESPN, rolled through their first 4 playoff matches by outscoring their opponents 15-3. For its unmatched excellence on the field and its success beyond high school, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts the 2011 McKinney Boyd girls soccer team as members of the class of 2021.
Wow, what a special team. They were a very talented team, but they worked hard. There's the old saying they used to say that hard work beats talent when talent didn't work hard. That wasn't happening because it was a talented group that really worked hard. I'd like to thank this team. It was one of the most fun teams I've ever coached. Just day in and day out, they had fun on the field. They were goofy, but when it came down to the game, it was a special team. They knew how to have fun, but they also knew how to make the other team not have fun. A few people I'd like to thank, Mr. McDaniel, Sean, athletic staff, fellow inductees. It's an honor to be here with this team. And I won't talk very long because y'all really want to hear from the pretty ones, not the fat old guy. But I do want to thank the girls. Congratulations, you've earned this. Thank you to the parents for supporting it. Seems like y'all bought probably 27 shirts that year. Seemed like every time they won a game, they wanted a new shirt. So it was crazy, but it was a very enjoyable year. My last year at McKinney, but they made it a really special one for me. And so congratulations to them. Thank everybody here for the honor. And I'd like to introduce Megan. She's got a few words for you, and pretty special. Thank you.
Thanks, Langford. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Megan Lisenby, formerly Straight, and I was the senior captain for our 2011 squad. I have the pleasure of speaking on behalf of the team today. I just want to start out by thanking the MISD Hall of Honor Committee for selecting us for the 2021 class. It's a huge honor to be here and to be recognized for our season that year. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say this really means a lot to us, and we really appreciate it. Not only is it an honor to be recognized, but you've given us an opportunity to reflect on that amazing season we had, and you've given us an opportunity to reconnect after all these years, and that's a gift, and we really appreciate it. So thank you for all of that. I've gone back and forth on what it is I wanted to say about our team from that season, and I felt like I couldn't quite talk about our 2011 season. I couldn't quite paint the whole picture without briefly discussing our 2010 season. And you'll understand why here in a second. In 2010, we lost in the state championship game to the Woodlands 2-1. And we lost due to a penalty kick being called in the final minutes of the game. It was a devastating way to lose, and one that left us feeling robbed and very unsatisfied. Not only was it upsetting to the team, it was upsetting to the program as a whole, to the school, to our friends and family and community. Everyone was invested. A lot of people were invested in that season, and no one felt satisfied with the way that it ended. Now, I bring this up because I truly believe that the loss in 2010 set us up for our success in 2011. So going into the 2011 season, we came out with a chip on our shoulder. We had something to prove. We were going to make sure that the entire state of Texas knew that we were the best team in the state. And we were going to leave no doubt about that. We were relentless in our play. We had the talent, but more importantly, we had the desire to go all the way. It wasn't perfect, and it certainly didn't come easily. But we fought hard for that title and trophy. We showed up every day, like Langford said, and we played our game. When we played our game, we were truly unbeatable. I'll never forget the championship game against Colleyville. We were knocking on the door the entire game, and that keeper was saving everything. We could not get anything to go in, and it took going into overtime and a brilliant effort by Amanda Ellertson to seal our victory. And man, was it sweet and redeeming from the year before. That year, we had a special group of girls. It wasn't always business. It was fun and goofy and weird a lot of the time. But everyone was bought into the mission, and we had a blast dominating every opponent that we came across. That season and those memories are something I know we will all cherish forever. And to the girls and to the staff and to the coaches and everyone else who was a part of that season, congratulations on being recognized for our historic run, for it is well deserved. And what an honor it was and is to have shared that with you all, and just super grateful to be here and to represent our team as a whole. So thank you guys again, and go Broncos.
I think those of us that are athletes in the room, we've all had those moments where we thought, if we knew what we knew then, what we know now, we would be a better athlete, right? And I know, just as somebody who has the blessing of getting to watch our athletes compete every day, if I could take just the thankfulness and the humility that's been talked about today and just kind of wrap that up and pour that over our current athletes, they would just be so much better. Because, you know, we take for granted the things that we get to do when we're in high school and middle school, and then obviously as we get older, we start to realize just how important those memories were, and they really have formed us into who we are today as people, whether we're coaching or whether we're not coaching. And so as a former athlete myself, I just want to tell you thank you for being here, inductees. We are so proud of your accomplishments. You honor McKinney ISD. We talk all the time to our athletes about just what it is to represent your school district beyond the athletic field, and you are an incredible representation of that today. So thank you for being here. Congratulations to our 2021 Hall of Honor inductees today.